Hey guys, it's Vlad now. If you saw the entirety of my previous video, you could probably tell that the production quality just went straight to the moon. I mean, that's my way of boasting. I don't have a lot of things to boast about. But this greenery here is not accidental. It didn't just sprout up from the ground. I mean, from within the concrete. It's it's just to showcase how different lenses affect the image, and I'm not gonna change any parameter other than Super 35 crop mode, because I have two Super 35 lenses and two full frame lenses. So yeah, let's just get into it. I am recording with the Sony A7 IV. The reason I chose that sensor, really, because you buy the camera for the sensor and or the technology, not so much the brand. Just because of the color gamut. I record in Slog 3, and it's really gnarly. I mean, it's the closest to raw I'm gonna get in terms of image quality, and I think it's just enough. I'm not gonna be recording an Arri Alexa type grade film tomorrow, so I really don't mind it. I wanted to get the FX3, but I shoot photography every now and then, and I like I like high quality images. And if you have a high quality image in terms of photograph and video, then you have enough to market, I think. However, the drawback with this sensor is that it could be a little bit slow in terms of wobbliness and rolling shutter. That's what we call it in the biz. It's something that I have noticed, but it doesn't really affect me because I'm not, recording messy make goals. I'm just recording silly YouTube videos. With that being said, I am considering an FX6, maybe Mark II, hopefully, in the future. The problem I have with this current sensor is that it doesn't shoot open gate, and with the next lenses I'm gonna show, it's gonna be evident that open gate is a bit of a necessary, especially if you're shooting anamorphic. Now, the first lens I'm gonna show you guys is the one I'm recording with right now. It's the Sony 35 millimeter at f 1.8, I believe. It's pretty good for its image circle, because even if I shoot wide open, it vignettes just very little. I could go at a 1.2 times crop and it could still handle it as long as I have image stabilization on. And the image stabilization as well as the autofocus with this camera is bar none. I mean, it's beautiful. Now, this is my 55 to 210 millimeter zoom lens at an S35 crop factor. As you guys can tell, I'm a bit punched in. However, quality has not dropped significantly. The only thing that could draw back this lens is the f-stop factor. It's a bit slower, but I think for its intended purpose, which is to zoom in and out outside, which is well illuminated, I think it fulfills said purpose. You see, I like to take a lot of pictures of birds and animals, or just wildlife. Even if I want to shoot something on anamorphic, I could just color grade it and make it match up. As long as it doesn't have the oval bokeh artifacts that are commonly found in anamorphic lenses, then I think it fulfills its intended purpose. We're still about 4 feet or 1.2 meters away from the camera, and yeah, everything is still where it was. This is the 35 millimeter full frame anamorphic glass at a 1.6 times squeeze. I know a lot of people say what they say about Sirui, but I prefer this glass because it is so lightweight. It took off, I believe, half a kilogram from its much larger counterpart that is almost exactly the same glass. However, this one has a neutral flare, so if you give it a little bit of light, it's not gonna create that blue flare that is so common with the anamorphic glass. And frankly, I don't like blue flare all the time because sometimes you're shooting something a little bit more warm, less sci-fi. There's a time and a place for it, is what I'm saying. And I think neutral flare accomplishes what it needs to. This is the Saturn edition, so it's so lightweight. It's carbon fiber. I think Sirui really knocked it out of the ballpark with this one. The focus throw is not insane, but I intend to shoot establishing shots with this. I intend to shoot maybe punched out shots with two characters speaking to one another. This is not exactly a close-up lens. However, you could crop down to the 1.5 or the S35 crop factor and have it become an effective 50 millimeter lens. And I think it serves a purpose. You could film, I believe, a feature with just this lens, you know, of course with diopters and ND filters and the right lighting. But yeah, the story counts, and this is immersive enough to make somebody fall into that world. I know I'm getting to the cinematic phase of this video because the first ones were photographic lenses, and the second one is more akin to cine-glass. Now, when we say that, we mean glass that was made for intended focus pullers, for different shots that have things that are intentionally out of focus. Not everything is going to be in focus all the time, and that's what Cineglass is intended to do. This is the reason why you will probably never find an autofocus Cineglass in the coming future, because it's quite unnecessary, but DJI does have that capability. Now, this is the 50 millimeter full frame lens from Sirui. I typically always have a diopter. I like this glass specifically because it has an aesthetic that's comparable to Quentin Tarantino films or Christopher Nolan. Even though they use a 2x squeeze factor, I think it's up there. It's just that the bokeh effects as well as the warping is something that I look for. And a lot of people complain about things being too sharp, but frankly, if they're too dull, then you can't really sharpen it. And if it's very sharp, then you could dull it out. You can make it look as stupid as you want. But that is what it is. Right now, I have a matte box on there. Now, this matte box is from Small Rigs. You could remove this if you don't want the sides covered. Frankly, I don't know why, but I just can't stand this blue flare. It's not that I hate it. I just don't think that we're gonna have aliens coming around, you know? It's just that colder temperatures are a bit more, I don't know, sci-fi-esque. We're gonna talk about lighting. If you guys saw my previous video, you guys saw how stupid it was. The lighting on there was not Gucci at all. It was American Eagle at most. From something colder to something warmer, and you could also change the intensity. You could charge it with both USB-C and micro if one or the other is not available. It's really gnarly. It lasts you up to 4 hours on a full charge, and frankly, I mean, I do not see myself shooting without any one of these, because you could mount it up anywhere, call it a day. And for audio, there's a reason that this lemon tree is right up in my face. It's because this is the microphone. I like to hide the microphone because, I don't know, if you have it right there. I like to hide the microphone because, I don't know, I think it distracts sometimes. Unless you're a gamer or whatever, then yeah, have the microphone, or if it's a podcast. But if it's a presentation, then just have it out of frame. It's just my personal pet peeve. The RS3 is everything I need. I mean, if I'm gonna record with the anamorphic, the one that weighs like 1.5 kilos, then yeah, I'm not going to use this. It's just going to wear out the motors. But if I'm recording something small or like a music video, then this is the go-to. And you, for what it's capable of and its price, I think it's well worth it. And if you need to record anything that requires stability or graceful movement, then this is what you should use. If you have a limited setup, this should probably be in your bag. If not even the mini, depending on the weight of lens and equipment you're gonna have on there. One of these is fine if you're gonna go handheld. And on my camera, I have a small rig cage. It is super useful. Always go full body. I mean, at least for my purposes, I go full body because you have all these mounting capabilities. If you're more capable, then that's just more power to you. It's less limitation. And I also have the Raven Eye to go with the Ronin. Now, the reason I have the Raven Eye is simply to control the camera just with the movements of my phone when I'm shooting remotely or something of that nature. And I could also program it to just capture my face and move along with me. Now, I know I haven't used that in any recent video, but I do intend to. And even if I don't intend to right now, I know that I have that capability in the future. This is my first tripod I ever bought. I didn't exactly like the ball that it had on there. I don't know what to call it exactly, but it's a really stable tripod. I like the capabilities it has. However, it was for a much older system, a system before this time, the Nikkor glass. Now this is the 35 to 70 millimeter. I think it's a Super 35 sensor, but it was just, I don't know, it was clunky. The battery died rather quickly. I thought I got myself a deal, but really it's gonna be a B or C camera. It's not something really to boast about, which is why I didn't even showcase this glass. I mean, this is the kit lens it came with. It's an 18 to 55 mil, rather wide, but it's essentially the 35 millimeter that I had. But yeah, it's more of a beginner photographer type of thing. I don't even consider it professional. It's really slow too. What is it, 3.3 at 4.5? And this one is a 3.5 at a 5.6. Yeah, even though this zoom is much slower, it gives me really good autofocus. Where this one, the autofocus becomes a problem, so it's much better turning it off. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, or at least its quality, then give me a subscribe. That way I could shoot longer videos and maybe shoot a small series, a mini series. I don't know what it's going to be about, but rest assured that the production quality is going to be there, and I'll do my best to keep y'all entertained and informed with all my stutters.